We are now going live on YouTube. Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Carroll, and I'm the program lead for Measure 110. And we do not, this subcommittee does not have quorum yet. So while we are live, our cameras and microphones will be muted while we wait for quorum. We will also put a message in the chat. Thank you. Hi, Leticia. Welcome. You're on mute. We are currently live. We are currently live on YouTube. We were waiting for quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't even read the preamble or anything. If I can invite,
Good.
yeah, you're fine. If I can invite everyone to join us or to rejoin us, if you yeah, we have 4. Okay. Now that we have quorum, if I'm gonna start reading the preamble to get us started, and then we'll take roll. Just an FYI today, I am your facilitator. Sydney is sitting in for Walter and will be taking roll and recording votes. All right. Good afternoon. I am Jessica Carroll, the program lead for Measure 110, and I'll be serving as your facilitator for today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or get on our interested parties email list by emailing oha.measure110@dhsoha.state.or.us. That email address and more information about the council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. For more information on or support with community engagement, please contact me, Jessica Carroll. My email will be in the chat. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency, and if you are a subject matter expert, your area of expertise. Because this is a voting subcommittee, we will be asking for subcommittee members to declare any conflicts of interest that they may have. We will request these declarations before each full county. So if you would like to declare a conflict for the entire county, you may do so then. Additionally, we will be asking for potential or actual conflicts of interest declarations before each organization is discussed. So please declare any conflicts when prompted by the facilitator. Please remember that if you do declare an actual conflict of interest, we ask that you mute your microphone and turn off your camera. We will let you know in the chat when it's time for you to return. If you have a potential conflict, you may remain in the room and vote after you declare it if you choose. And I also, I forgot to say that we also have live captioning in English and Spanish for this meeting, and the link is in the chat or will be dropped there shortly. Okay, so with all of that, welcome. We have 4 members, it looks like, so that gives us quorum, and I'm going to send it to Sydney to take roll.
Hello, happy Friday. I'm just gonna run from the top, even if people aren't here, just to make sure. Blue, are you back with us?
Yep, hello.
Thanks, Blue. Morgan is not here. Nicole.
I'm here.
Hey, Nicole. Sabrina's not with us yet. Zeb is here, but on the phone. I'm just gonna mark him here. Leticia.
I'm here.
Thanks, Leticia. And Henry is not here.
Okay.
Zeb, can you hear us? Can you tell us you're here?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you. All good.
All
Jessica?
right. Yeah, thank you, Sydney. So the first organization, the first organization that you all will be considering is in Lane County. If there's anyone who would like to declare a conflict of interest with the entirety of Lane County, hearing none. The organization that you will be evaluating in Lane County is Daisy Chain. Daisy Chain is applying to provide, sorry, I don't have the top sheet, so I'm just, let's see here. So they are applying to provide peer support, housing, and harm reduction in Lane County. You can find their workbook, or you can find their 2 recommendations. Those are yes, and can somebody let Sabrina in? And yes. Those can be found in the Daisy Chain workbook that was sent to you in the email by Sydney McConnell, and I believe she just resent these to everyone, so they should be at the top of your inbox. And I know people are going to need to take a minute to find those in their email, and that way we can update Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Jessica. I'm going to be on my phone, but I'll be back in my office in like 10 minutes, but I will be listening.
Okay, that's fine, Sabrina. We are considering Daisy Chain in Lane County. Seth?
Thank you. I'd like to say, I went over this rubric here, and it's definitely, they serve a specific population that isn't covered for this county. I like both of the reviewers recommended it for funding. So I know for myself, just so you guys know, that I'd be comfortable voting for funding this application, Daisy Chain, for this county. And I guess the only question, so like they went for peer services and housing, and I guess the only question would be the harm reduction part, because we got some harm reduction experts in here, so I had to get their take on it. But I like the application, and then of course, funding would be contingent upon, in contracting, it would be in line with Measure 110, making sure the population served are the ones most, for the intended, the communities most impacted by the war on drugs. So anyway, my 2 cents.
Seb? Any other thoughts?
So I'm looking at, oh gosh, Daisy Chain 1. And it sounds like they are using a harm reduction philosophy, which is great. And then in, I think it's 60C and 59C, it doesn't really list a lot of things that we would consider harm reduction, like tents, tarps, warm clothing, hygiene supplies. It does look like they're asking for a harm reduction training for all of their staff. To me, kind of falls under technical assistance, maybe. more because they're not providing that to clients. It's a training for staff. So that's my only, doesn't look like they're really asking for supplies, more of just an sort of education and technical assistance. So I wouldn't necessarily consider that a harm reduction intervention, but I do think it's important for staff to be trained in harm reduction principles.
Thanks, Blue. Anyone else with some thoughts? Nicole, Leticia?
I'm open to funding this application.
Thanks, Leticia.
I'd like to make a motion to fund Daisy Chain for Lane County for peer services, housing services, and for harm reduction training that they're requesting.
Okay, so we have a motion from Zeb to fund Daisy Chain for peer services. Oh, I missed the other one. Peer services, housing services, and harm reduction training. All right, sounds good. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
We have a second from Leticia. Any more discussion? Yes, Blue.
I'm just concerned that I wouldn't want to count that as a harm reduction intervention that we're funding. But I still think they should get the funding. And I know there was not a specific section in a subsection for technical assistance. I know that it was one of the things we said we would fund, but again, it's just like if we are training treatment staff but not actually providing treatment, I wouldn't want to count that as funding treatment necessarily. So that's my concern, is that I don't think that it's a harm reduction intervention. I would still like to see it funded, but you know, at the end of the day, if we have things that are sort of harm reduction intervention adjacent, I don't think we should be checking that box for a harm reduction intervention. That's all.
So can I ask a quick question, Blue? So are you saying that you want to ensure that this isn't like, for when we talk about a burn, you don't want this to check that harm reduction box for the burn?
Yeah, I don't think that it meets those requirements, but I do still think that it is important and should be funded, if that makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense. I just wanted to make sure I was hearing that correctly. Zeb?
And the way I worded it, and so I worded it with the harm reduction training that they requested, but not for the harm reduction box to be checked off. I don't know if I need to restate it in a different way.
Okay, I see Sabrina, you have your hand up real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Jessica, I just wanted to throw my question in there real quick. So does that mean we're going to provide funding for the harm reduction element on just the training? And I think that's what you guys are getting to right now. So I will just let you guys play it out and I'll talk to you when I get to my office.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sabrina. And so I think the way that Zeb has it worded is very clear, so that it will be communicated to the contracts folks, right? So you will ensure that you're not marking your that will not be the only harm reduction thing that is funded. Does that make sense? I don't know. Sabrina, I'm going to assume your hand is still up, so I'm going to just lower that and I'm going to go to Blue.
Yeah, so I think Zeb's wording was really clear. My concern is that OHA does not check the harm reduction box on that grid or whatever is, sent out. And because it's technically not a harm reduction intervention for people, for the public. That it really sounds like technical assistance, which is fine. But I would not count that as a harm reduction intervention.
Okay, so just looking here. Yeah, so we are collecting that in the notes, and we will ensure that that is communicated, right? So I think your safest bet here is just to, if you only want to fund peers in housing, you can make a motion to fund peers in housing with the addition of the harm reduction training, which is exactly what Zeb did. You're not funding their harm reduction section. So we have that clearly in our notes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure on OHA's end that it wasn't reported and counted in that way, so that we can really be specific about what we're funding. And so thank you for clarifying.
Yep. Okay, so I think we still have a motion. The motion is to fund peer support services, housing, and the harm reduction training, but not the harm reduction intervention. We have a second from Leticia. We have a discussion from Sabrina. Yes, Sabrina.
Yes, I was just wondering what the harm reduction training consists of.
I took a wild guess, but I don't know that it's specified, but in the rubrics, it sounded as though they wanted their staff to be trained in the principles of harm reduction so that they could make sure they were using a harm reduction philosophy to work with people. But it's also possible that I made some assumptions. So I'm going to dig through the rubrics again and see if I can find something else to back up what I'm saying.
Thank you, Blue. Zeb.
And just for our information purposes, from what I'm reading in the rubrics, the total will be $9,000 would be the cost of what they're asking for.
Thanks, Zeb.
For the harm reduction training, not for the overall application.
Okay, good call out there, Zeb.
Are y'all ready to vote?
No, I think Blue's still looking for some information.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I heard that.
Sydney's recording the votes, and she's super excited. Hi, Sabrina.
Yeah, I don't want to hold the rest of the committee up on that question. If everybody else is ready to vote, I just wanted to know what that meant. I haven't been in my office all day, so I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about before I made my vote. But if the rest of the committee's ready, then I don't want them to have to wait for me.
Thanks, Sabrina. I see a thumbs up from Zeb. Okay, so that was some more discussion. Is there any more discussion or are you all ready to vote? Okay, looks like Zeb's ready to vote. Blue, Nicole, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, I was confused why you were calling me. I'm here. Are you calling the vote? Oh my gosh. Happy Friday.
I know. Hold on. So Sabrina just said that she didn't want to hold everything up. So she's okay if we vote. Zeb said he's okay if we vote. We were just checking to see if everybody else is okay with the vote. I guess we could call the vote and find out.
Yeah, I'm
All
good
right.
with calling the vote.
Okay. So the motion on the table is to, and I want to make sure I get this right, motion to fund for peer support services, housing, and the harm reduction training, but not the harm reduction intervention. Or service element. Let's just go with that service element. So that was from Zeb. We have a second from Leticia. We had discussion. Sydney, when you're ready.
Been ready. Just kidding. I'm sorry I'm not on camera today either, you guys. All right, motion to fund peer support housing and only the harm reduction training. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Blue. Leticia?
I vote yes.
Leticia. Nicole?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Sabrina?
I'm going to abstain.
Thank you, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
All right, and that passes with 4 yes votes. Jessica?
Thank you, Sydney. Thanks, everyone. All right. So the next organization that we're gonna look at is from your Jackson County workbooks. So I just want to give you a second to get those open. I know toggling between workbooks is not the best. And I have to open my workbook too. I'm gonna be 100% honest. All right, so the first organization that you all will be considering for, oh wait, I'm sorry. Would anybody like to declare a conflict of interest for the entirety of Jackson County? Hearing none. The first organization that you all will be considering is in Jackson County is Rogue Retreat Hope University. Would anyone like to declare a conflict of interest with Rogue Retreat Hope University? Hearing none. Rogue Retreat Hope University is applying to provide peer support and housing in Jackson County. You have 2 recommendations. They are both yes. You can find these under the Rogue HU1 and Rogue HU2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. With that, I'm going to send it over to the subcommittee.
Can someone remind us of what the concern was with this particular applicant?
I think that was in the email that was sent. Let me just look real quick.
Yep, on the email, it says that you needed clarity on staffing, housing, and the warming shelter.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, after reviewing everything, and with the reviewer's recommendation for yes, I would like to, I'm just for the record here, would vote to fund this. The only concern is the capital outlay cost of it's a big ask. And so there would need to be, well, just because of the limited funds and the ask for that county would already be reduced most likely. That would just be the concern there, is how they're going to make it all work with if they get less funding than what they're asking for.
Thanks, Zeb. Any other thoughts on this?
And I just wanted to mention, Zeb, I'm not sure what you were referring to about the capital outlay. I just looked at the budget for Rogue Retreat, and there are two applications for Rogue Retreat. There's Rogue Retreat Hope University, and then there's a separate Rogue Retreat. The Rogue Retreat Hope University is not requesting money for capital outlays. Not that I can see on their budget, and I have their budget open, but let me scroll over. Oh, they are actually, you're right. They're just requesting one lump sum of, wait, where is it?
I see 500,000. Is that what you see there? I guess for the smaller model.
Oh, for the total, yeah, it looks like their total they're requesting is 552,000.
Okay.
That's their total amount that they're requesting for this application.
All right.
I don't think that matches what we were sent. We were sent a budget totaling over 5 million.
Well, the total budget ask could be 5,030,000, and the capital outlay would have been that 500,000, from my understanding, unless I'm wrong, TCF.
Oh, here, okay, I have all these budgets open. Let me make sure I'm in the right one.
It looked to me like it was actually going to be 1,250,000 for their capital. There's two lines, a navigation center and the Redwood Inn. And then the navigation center totals $1 million, and I think the Redwood Inn, the Redwood Inn totals $1 million, and the navigation center is 250,000.
Okay, that must be the budget in the other one, because I'm looking at my rubrics and I'm looking at the budget that was sent with the Rogue Retreat Hope University rubrics, and it doesn't show either of those items. Those are listed just under the Rogue Retreat application, which is a different rubrics than the one we're looking at now.
Blue?
Yeah, so the screenshot that was a PNG that we were sent, it just seems like that budget has a lot of items I didn't remember seeing in the rubrics.
Yeah.
So I am super confused right now.
Yeah, Jessica, it looks like I haven't opened that budget yet, but I think the incorrect budget was sent because there's two Rogue Retreats. There's Rogue Retreat Hope University, which is I think about $500,000 is what they're requesting, and then there's just Rogue Retreat, and they're requesting $5 million.
So just to clarify, this particular application, Rogue Retreats, not Rogue Retreat Hope University, is asking for $552,000. And it was Rogue Retreat Hope University that was asking for over $5 million. Would that be correct?
I think it's the opposite way. Because we're reviewing Hope University right now. Is that correct?
So is it Rogue Retreat Hope University?
Yes.
Jessica, I think you were talking, but you're muted.
I am so sorry. I had a full-on conversation. So I pulled the Rogue Retreat Hope University budget straight from the fee file, and the Rogue Retreat Hope University budget request is that 5 million and some odd change. So that is the budget ask. I can send you that budget right now, and that's what I'm actually going to do. And then we can go ahead and we can take a quick break and give you all time to look over it. Okay, well, can we just send it one more time, Sydney? Yeah, Leticia.
So when I reviewed this rubrics, I used the budget that was sent with it, which it sounds like it's the incorrect budget. I would like to say that.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Let me know what y'all think. It sounds like we need to parking lot, Rogue Retreat, Hope University, send you all the application and the budget and let you review those before our next meeting. Does that sound good? Are you more comfortable with that, Leticia? Considering you're one of the. Okay.
I would be, yeah, personally.
Okay. Can everybody else honor that for her? Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and parking lot, Rogue Retreat, Hope University. We're going to get you that full application and the budget, hoping that you can review those before the next meeting. And everyone can feel comfortable with their decision, because we'd rather do this right. And I really appreciate your thought, the thought and the care that you all are putting into this and for each other. It's fantastic. So thank you all. I'm going to ask if we can take a 10-minute break. It is almost 1:00. Would that be okay with y'all?
Do we need to make a motion to parking lot?
Oh, yeah. We can do that.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to parking lot, Rogue Retreat, Hope University.
Perfect. Thank you. We have a motion on the table from Blue to parking lot, Rogue Retreat, Hope University.
I second that motion.
We have a second from Leticia. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Sydney.
Sorry, too many screens open. Okay, motion to table this one for next time. Blue? How do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you. Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
All right. Motion to table passes.
Thank you. And before we go on break, I just want to call out that Columbia Care for Jackson County is going to be next. So if you want to pull that up, you feel free. All right, y'all, we will see you at 12:10, or sorry, 1:10. We're not going back in time. We're going to 1:10. All right.
Can you say who's next one more time? I'm sorry, I didn't catch part of that.
That's okay. It's Columbia Care.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Welcome back. We have Zeb, we have Leticia. Sabrina, do you want to give us a thumbs up? Or blue? Looks like we may have lost Nicole. Thank you, blue. Sabrina, are you back? Okay, so without Sabrina, we don't have quorum because we lost blue. I'm sure
No, I'm
she's,
here.
oh, not blue. I'm sorry, we lost Nicole. Oh. We'll just give Sabrina a moment. I'm sure, there she is. Hi, Sabrina. All right, so we have Zeb, we have Leticia, we have Blue, we have Sabrina. We lost Nicole. Hopefully she will be rejoining us shortly. But we do have quorum, which means that we can proceed. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Columbia Care Services in Jackson County. Would anyone like to declare a conflict of interest with Columbia Care Services in Jackson County? Hearing none, Columbia Care Services has applied to provide SUD treatment, peer support, housing, and supported employment in Jackson County. You have two recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those under the Columbia Care 1 and Columbia Care 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbooks. And with that, I'm going to send it back to the subcommittee for discussion or a vote.
So I just wanted to say this is the application that they weren't a certified program for SUD treatment at the time that they wrote the application. So I kind of wanted to address that. So yeah, after reading the application, they've requested some funding, and I think they were already in the process or had hired a person to help them become a certified program to help them become an SUD treatment provider. And so when you become a certified program through the state of Oregon, then you become eligible to get on the different CCOs and are able to bill Medicaid. And so I think that'll be an important part for this program for the sustainability going forward. We'd want to see them become a certified program. And so if there's anything we can do to help that, I think that we should do that. I think there's never too many resources out there. The only thing is, I think when the time comes for them to negotiate, if we approve this application for SUD treatment, that OHA, which they'll do anyway, that if they they submitted this application in February, it's now May, that their situation may have changed. So they may no longer need funding for a position if they're already a certified program. So the way I'm leaning for this is I would fund this for SUD treatment, peer services, and supported employment. I just want to put my thoughts out there for discussion.
Thanks, Zeb.
Sabrina, I'm gonna call on you.
Thank you, Blue. Yes, so the only, if I could speak correctly, the concern that I have is, so out of 100%, 64% are people people that use substances. So I would just want to make sure that the funding would be used for the target population by ballot measure 110. And other than that, I'm in agreement with the recommendations being made by Zeb.
Thanks, Sabrina, and thank you, Blue, for taking over facilitation duties while I was sending multitasking is what I was doing. All right, so it sounds like Zeb and Sabrina have made their thoughts known. Anyone else, or a motion or something?
I'd like to make a motion to fund this application, Columbia Care for Jackson County, for SUD treatment, peer support, housing, and supported employment. And like Sabrina was saying, make sure everything is in line with Measure 110.
All right, so what I'm hearing from you, Zeb, and please let me know if I'm correct, that you want to fund Columbia Care services in Jackson County, ensuring that they are in alignment with your Chapter 944 rules. Yeah? Do you want to specifically call out? Well, we already have that in the notes, so you're good. You're good. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion on the table from Zeb to fund Columbia Care Services in Jackson County, ensuring that they are in alignment with the Chapter 944 rules. And we have a second from Leticia. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none. That's you, Sydney.
That's me. All right. Motion to fund for SUD, peer support housing, and supported employment. Columbia Care. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. And Nicole is not available. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you, Zeb. And that passes with 4 yes votes.
I'm here now, but I abstained from that.
Oh, Morgan is here. Yay. So that passes, correct, Sid?
All good. Back to you.
All right, thank you. I see Sabrina has a hand up, and I'm going to call on Sabrina because I am now doing the job of facilitator.
I just wanted to let you know that I have to leave at 1:30, so I'm glad that Morgan joined, but I'll be back at 2.
Okay, thank you, Sabrina. All
Yeah, I'll
right.
probably have to leave again at 2, so that's great.
I love this. I love this. Okay, so we do still have quorum for purpose of the public record. We have Leticia, we have Zeb, we have Sabrina who's leaving, but we have Blue and Morgan, and we have a cat walking across my keyboard. Come on, get down. Get down. Okay. All right. Thank you. And I have a vacuum cleaner running in the background. Can you all hear me? Okay. Great, great. The next organization that you all will be considering is Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley.
Max's mission.
Oh, I'm sorry, Max's mission. I'm so sorry. Max's mission in Jackson County. Would anyone like to declare a conflict of interest for Max's mission in Jackson County? Hearing none. Max's mission in Jackson County is applying to provide harm reduction services. You have 2 reviewers. They both say yes. And Sydney, you want to tell them where they can find that?
Put me on the spot. I don't have my workbook open. But I can get it for you. Give me just 2 seconds because I literally just sent it to you guys.
I have it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'll have it open next time.
It's Max's Mission 1 and Max's Mission 2 in your Jackson County workbooks. And I'm sorry, the person who's vacuuming can't hear me yelling at them to stop. So. Sabrina.
Yeah, I would just like to put a motion on the table to fund Max's mission for Jackson County.
All right, we have a motion on the table to fund Max's mission in Jackson County. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thanks, Zeb. So we have a motion from Sabrina, a second from Zeb. Any more discussion? Take it away, Sydney.
Oh, I just saw Sabrina had her hand up, but it went down. Okay. Blue, motion to fund Max's mission Jackson County. How do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Leticia.
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan.
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Sabrina.
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb.
Yes.
Thanks so much. And just to make sure Nicole is still not here. All right, that passes with 5 yes votes. Jessica?
Thank you, Sydney. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley. If anyone would like to declare a conflict of interest with Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley, please do so now. Hearing none. Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley is applying to provide SUD treatment, peer support, housing, and supported employment in Jackson County. You have 2 reviews or recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those on your Oasis Center 1 and Oasis Center 2 tabs in your Jackson County rubric. Handing back to the subcommittee.
Hi, Jessica. Did you say both reviewers approve this up or would recommend this for funding?
Hi, Zeb. I would say that, or I did say that,
All right.
and I
And then
would
there's-
say it again.
All right. And then there was, yeah, Sabrina has her hand up. So I was just going to ask her if she can clarify. There was a little question about the budget.
No, there's so with this application, there's a lot of questions about the budget because there's a lot of other people in Jackson County Burn that said that they are going to be renting a space out of the Oasis, or they're going to be stationed out of the Oasis. And in some of those budgets, they're also asking for funding for buildings and or office space. And then so is Oasis. And so I wanted to know if I wanted to make sure that's taken into consideration when we're thinking of funding them in during contract process, because there was a couple of organizations that said they were going to be placed there. And so that was one of my concerns, but I have a couple other concerns, and I said I agreed to partially funding them.
Thanks, Sabrina. I apologize if we did not get that recorded correctly as a partial.
Sabrina, I had a question. When you say partial, does that mean to you there are certain service elements that you think should not be funded, or just that the budget is too big of an ask and that they should get a reduced amount but still be funded in all of the categories they applied for?
It depends on which organization I'm talking to, but in this one, I definitely think that the housing, or not the housing, the rubric and the budget needs to be pared down a lot because there's a lot of overlap in ask, and so somewhere that's going to have to come out. But also, I'm going to look at the rubric again because I think this one was very confusing because they're talking about leasing housing units and other housing units being leased back and forth interchangeably. So it's really hard to decipher exactly what they're looking for and asking for, but I will pull that up in the rubric. And so in this one, I know definitely it should be pared down, or the budget should be slimmed down.
Thanks, Sabrina.
I have the budget pulled up, and their request was for $1.5 million. And I can go through the different points on the budget if that would help for clarification. And sorry, Sabrina, I saw your hand fly up. I hope I didn't.
I just know what I was talking about in the rubric. I was just going to wait until you were done, Leticia. But I'm talking about in the rubric, my rubric, Oasis Center number 1. On rubric line 49C, it says requested funding will provide prior tours, rapid housing to 3 low-barrier emergency housing units for pregnant people using substances to a partnership with Jackson County Recovery Network entity partner On Track. So it doesn't really paint a clear picture who's going to be providing that service. So just to add to your point, Blue, I think that when we partially fund them, that definitely in the contract process that the housing element's going to be needs to be looked at. And if somebody else is providing that service other than than Oasis, then obviously not to fund that one. And possibly if the other rubric comes up and they're awarded the funding, that's different, but just to separate all of it. And I don't know if you'd feel more comfortable tabling it and looking at the application, because it was really unclear to me as I was going over that piece, who was actually providing those services.
Do you all feel like you would like to see this application?
Well, I'll just say this, like, if Sabrina and Leticia both review this application, I'm comfortable with whatever recommendation they make at this point. If they want to table it, that's fine. But if you guys want to push for a vote, I'd be comfortable with that too.
I'm with Zeb on that as well.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. If either of you though feel more comfortable, like we should review the application, that's fine, Leticia or Sabrina. But otherwise, I trust your application or your review. Sorry for cutting off, Morgan.
Oh no, I was saying that. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with funding this application.
Would people be comfortable with me making a motion, or what's the name of them? Hang on, I can't toggle fast enough.
It's okay. It's okay. I got you, Morgan. It's the Oasis Center of Rogue Valley.
Okay, I make a motion to fund the Oasis Center of Rogue Valley.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the table for Morgan to fund Oasis Center of Rogue Valley, Jackson County. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a second from Leticia. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none. Oh, seeing some. Sorry, Zeb.
Yeah, so I like to make sure that it's noted, Sabrina's things that she's pointed out. There's no duplication of funding. If they're in the same space, that OHA will work that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is if Measure 110 funds are going to be used to buy the space, then a burn partner can't then pay them to rent the space. So I think that is what we capture in our notes and we highlight it, which is, I think reasonable of you all to ask. Thank you for pointing that out, Sabrina. Is there any more discussion? Blue.
I could totally be off, and this is just an assumption, but it could have also possibly been the case where all these organizations applied, not knowing if any of them were going to be funded. So at the time, multiple places might have said they were going to use a location, but they may not have been intending to double dip, for lack of a better term. But I do appreciate that OHA can at least tease that out and make sure that isn't happening.
Yeah. And I think, you're likely correct, Blue. This was the first time this RFGA has ever gone out. And so people, they applied the way they applied and they were allowed to do that. And so thank you. Thank you for your call out, Sabrina.
Yeah, and I just want to note that was never my intention to say that anybody was double dipping. I just wanted to make sure that it was noted there was multiple different applicants applying for different funding from Oasis, and so that can just be hammered out in the long run. So thank you, and I gotta go.
All right. Thank you, Sabrina. We'll see you soon. Bye. All right. Okay. All right. So I believe next would be the vote. I kind of lost track there. Any more discussion?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Sydney's really ready.
I'm just trying to give Walter a run for his money, man. All right. So the motion to fund Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley in Jackson County. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Nicole. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thanks, Zeb. And then just to make sure, yes, Sabrina did leave. So that passes with 5 yes votes. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Sydney. All right. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is On Track Inc. in Jackson County. If you have a conflict of interest with On Track Inc. in Jackson County, please declare it now. Hearing none, On Track Inc. is applying to provide SUD treatment, peer support, housing, harm reduction, and supported employment in Jackson County. You have 2 recommendations. Both are yes. You can find those on the On Track 1 and On Track 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the subcommittee.
And then I'll speak on the application when you're all ready. Just let me know.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so I was one of the reviewers for this application, and so they requested funding for capital outlay costs. So they're going to purchase a house to convert to emergency housing. And they'd requested $550,000 for the purchase of the house and then $100,000 for remodel upgrades to that house to convert to emergency housing. They also requested services and supplies costs. So they requested money for Narcan, fentanyl, test strips, and wound care. And from this, what my understanding of the application is that those would be for the emergency housing program. They'd be available to that group of people. And they also requested funding for program and staff training costs. And they are one of the entities that had received access to care funding. And so they, with that access to care, they were able to staff a bilingual CADC, one bilingual CADC registrant, 3 of those positions, a bilingual access intake person, and then a bilingual case manager. And they are looking for funding to fund an outreach and engagement peer, an outreach and engagement CADC, residential housing peer, clinical housing coordinator, and then they're also requesting money for reporting, tracking, and compliance support.
Thanks, Leticia.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Leticia, from what I'm reading about the harm reduction intervention, it sounds pretty narrow, like it's only for people in housing, and even within that, they still partner with Max's Mission for some of the things like the naloxone boxes. So hearing that, I would assume that the budget is pretty minimal for harm reduction. So, okay, so then I would feel comfortable funding that, knowing that it's a small amount and that it's a pretty narrow scope of who they're helping, but still important to make sure those folks have access to naloxone. But yeah, it sounded like they were referring out for a lot of those services too.
Yeah, Blue, that was my understanding as well. In their budget, they requested $150 a month, I think starting not right in January, starting in March for service and supply costs. And within that was the Narcan, fentanyl, test strips, and the wound care for the emergency housing specifically.
And then Jessica, that can just sort of go as is, and then specific items such as fentanyl test strips can be addressed later.
Anything, yeah. So anything that you all fund, right? You fund as you have been, and then anything that comes up in the contracting process, that can't be funded, then that would be handled on the other end of that. I hope that answered your question.
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Now, does somebody have the perfect wording for a motion? Somebody's got it.
I mean, to me, it sounded like you all were open to funding. I didn't hear a concern about a specific service element, unless I was, being drowned out by the vacuum cleaner, or you all were being drowned out by the vacuum cleaner. I don't know.
I'd like to make a motion to fund this organization. What is the exact name again? Here. I want to mess up the name. on track for Jackson County for all services that they applied for.
Thanks, Zeb. So we have a motion on the table from Zeb to fund On Track Inc. in Jackson County. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, we have a second from Leticia. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Sydney?
Okay, motion to fund On Track in Jackson County for all services. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Let's see. Nicole is back. Nicole, would you like to vote?
I'm going to abstain right now. My phone died. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. And Zep?
Yes.
All right, and that passes with 4 yes votes. Jessica?
Thank you. All right. The next organization for you all to consider this afternoon is Options for Homeless Residents of Ashland. Would anyone like to declare a conflict of interest or has a conflict of interest they would like to declare for Options for Homeless Residents of Ashland? Hearing none. Options for Homeless Residents of Ashland are applying to provide harm reduction and housing. You have 2 recommendations. One is a partial and one is a yes. You can find those recommendations under the OHRA1 and OHRA2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. And I'll hand it back over to the subcommittee.
From looking at the rubrics for this organization, the housing services look great to me. Housing first model. I guess the only question is the harm reduction program. Sounds like they partner with them, and then are they asking for supplies in the budget? Leticia?
I'm going to pull it up right now. Thank you, Zeb. No, they are not asking for supplies.
Is there any requests when it comes to harm reduction in their budget?
No, I don't see any. I see mobile outreach navigation, but that's a personnel cost, 0.25 of a full-time employee.
Okay.
So it sounds like they don't provide direct harm reduction services. And if we don't fund them for the category of harm reduction, it would not really affect their overall budget as well. So I would be comfortable funding them for housing. I'd like to make a motion, but I can't, I got to look for the name of this because
It's options for homeless residents of Ashland.
okay, I would like to make a motion to fund options for homeless residents of Ashland for housing.
Perfect. So we have a motion on the table from Blue to fund options for homeless residents of Ashland in Jackson County. Do we have a second? Oh,
I second that motion.
we have a second from Leticia and an oh for me because I saw the dog. Any more discussion? Hearing none. To Sydney.
Thank you so much. Motion to fund options for homeless residents of Ashland housing. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you, Morgan. Nicole?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Nicole. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you. And just to make sure Sabrina is still out, yes. So that passes with 5 yes votes. Back to Jessica.
Thank you. The next organization that you all will be considering is Options for Southern Oregon, Inc. Does anyone have a conflict of interest they would like to declare for Options of Southern Oregon, Inc.? Hearing none. Options of Southern Oregon, Inc. are applying to provide SUD treatment and peer support in Jackson County. There are 2 recommendations. Both are yes. You can find them in your OSO1 and OSO2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Turning it back over to the subcommittee.
I'm sorry, I had a knock on my office door and I had to take care of a situation real quick. Are we on options for Southern Oregon right now?
We are. Do you have a conflict of interest you'd like to declare for Options of Southern Oregon for Jackson
No,
County?
I don't.
Okay, great. Yep, that's where we are.
All right.
Do you want me to read the rest of the spiel I have? Or are you good?
What's the rest of the spiel?
So Options for Southern Oregon is applying to provide SUD treatment and peer support in Jackson County. You have 2 recommendations. They're both yes. You can find those on your OSO1 and OSO2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Zeb.
Thank you. So for me, this application has been reviewed by two excellent reviewers who have recommended for funding. It's very modest. It's a modest request budget-wise. So Leticia, if you have any information you want to give us, I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah, I did suggest that we fund this organization, and their request, thank you, Zeb, was very modest. And I'll go over the budget. It's really simple, just so everyone knows. Let's see. So they had requested personnel costs, one full-time peer, one full-time case manager, and one full-time CADC. And there was under services and supplies costs, they requested $200 a month for motivational incentives, as well as $200 a month for barrier removal. And other than that, they just have an administrative cost at 10%. And so their total ask was $360,000.
Yeah, I just thank you for all of that. And I just really think that they have a lot of really great things that I did see in the rubrics, like trying to increase same-day access to treatment and getting people certified as peers. So I really feel like it's really aligned with what we are funding, and I'm definitely in favor of funding it.
All right. Thank you, Blue. Thank you for all that information, Leticia. Any more thoughts or motions?
So I make a motion to fund options of Southern Oregon.
I will second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor from Leticia to fund options of Southern Oregon Inc. in Jackson County. We have a second from Nicole. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Over to you, Sydney.
Thank you. A motion to fund options for Southern Oregon, Jackson County. Blue, how do you vote? Yes. Thank you, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thanks so much. And Sabrina is still out. That passes with 5 yes votes. Jessica?
Thank you, Sydney. All right. I just want to flag that we are at 1:56, and we need to understand that we're all humans. Would you like a five-minute break? Yeah. Is 5 minutes good enough? Oh, Zeb didn't even wait to answer me. Like 5 minutes. All right. Why don't we come back at 2:05? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Sabrina's back. Yay. There's Morgan. Hi, Morgan. We have Leticia. Who else is back? We have Zeb and Blue, and looks like we may have lost Nicole. Okay. Zeb and Blue, are you back? Okay, we'll just give them a minute to come back. Zeb and Blue, you give me a thumbs up when you're back? We have Blue back. And I think Morgan may have to jump off here soon, so I just want to ensure that we get Zeb back. Is that true, Morgan? Are we remembering?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a phone call here. I'm waiting for a phone call. So when that comes.
Okay, great. Thanks. So we need Zeb.
I mean, it might not be for, I don't know. Let's just.
We have Nicole.
I do not dictate. I am not the boss. So.
Oh, there's the boss. There's Zeb. Just kidding. All right. So we have Morgan, we have Leticia, we have Zeb, we have Sabrina, we have Blue, and we have Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Okay. I think we can get started with quorum. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Pathfinder of Oregon. Does anyone have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare for Pathfinder? Hearing none. Pathfinder is applying to provide peer support in Jackson County. You have 2 reviews or recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those in the Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to the subcommittee.
I have a quick question. Leticia, what does, if we subtract line 28 and 29 from the budget, what does that do to the budget?
So let me see that. Let me pull it up here. So that request was, and I want to clarify that the only reason why I had put not funding that is because the supported employment section and the housing section had not been completed. They're requesting $5,000 a month for housing assistance, and they're requesting $1,733 a month for employment support and job development services at the drop-in center. And so I'm not sure how the you feel about that. But that's the only reason why I said no to those sections, just because that had not been completed. That if that seems punitive, then, you know, I'm more than open to fund those. I'd like to hear from Sabrina.
Yeah, I noticed in my rubric, I didn't even put anything for them completing those sections. And so I'm in favor of not funding them for that, but I'm also open for discussion.
Yeah, and then I think on that note, I did want to just mention that this organization had a really strong application, and their peer delivered services. They deliver them to justice system impacted individuals. And so just wanted to mention that about their application as well.
So if I made a motion to fund this application for this county, would I need to put any caveats in there, or can I just go ahead and make a motion to fund peer support services?
Go ahead, Sabrina.
I like the latter of your motion, what you just said, and personally, Zeb.
Sorry, I had a hard time hearing that. Sorry, I'm a connection on my end.
No, it's my speaker. I got to lean so close to my speaker, but I like the last part of what you said about the funding. I wouldn't be comfortable funding supported employment, and I believe it was housing, like Leticia stated in the very first part.
I'd like to make a motion to fund Pathfinders for peer, get this right, peer support for Jackson County.
Thank you, Zeb. So we have a motion on the table from Zeb to fund Pathfinder for peer support in Jackson County. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second from Blue. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, let's turn it over to you, Sydney.
Thank you so much. Motion to fund Pathfinder in Jackson County for peer support only. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan put in the chat that she is abstaining. Nicole?
I vote yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
All right, and that passes with 5 yes votes. Back to Jessica.
Thank you, Sydney. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County. If anyone has a conflict of interest that they'd like to declare for Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County, please do so now. Hearing none, Reclaiming Lives is applying to provide peer support for Jackson County. There are 2 recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those under the Reclaiming Lives 1 and Reclaiming Lives 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Handing back over to the subcommittee for vote or discussion.
I'll just say, I mean, from the rubrics, everything looks really good for this application for peer support. If the reviewers want to add anything, or if there's anything else we need to consider, I'm ready to vote.
Blue.
So I did notice in rubric 1, I'm looking at 14D and 18C and D. it says that they will provide peer support during and before and after treatment, but it also says that somebody must be abstinent for 24 hours in order to come to the recovery cafe for support. So I'm just curious if there are other opportunities for people to somehow get that peer support before treatment, because it does sound a little high barrier. And I'd love to hear from either or both of the reviewers, because I'm sure there was more in the application than what I'm seeing.
Thanks, Blue. Sabrina.
I didn't know my hand was still up, but I'll just add and jump in there real quick. Yeah, Blue, I thought the same thing, that it was a little bit high barrier to wait for that long to receive to be able to go to Recovery Cafe. But also, just to add to that, I really do like how they're reaching out to the Latinx population. And so I don't know if I answered your question. I will let Leticia answer if she feels comfortable.
Thanks, Sabrina.
And on that note that you just mentioned, Blue, I'm looking at my rubrics, and I'm not, I will look at Sabrina's as well, but I did know in line 39D that peer services are open and available to everyone, regardless of their ability to remain clean/sober. So just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Leticia.
I'd like to make a motion to fund Reclaiming Lives for Jackson County for peer support.
Zeb, we have a motion on the table from Zeb to fund Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County for peer support. Do we have a second?
I apologize. I had a thing happen. So
It's
can
okay.
you repeat that?
Absolutely. We have a motion from Zeb to fund Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County for peer support. And we're waiting for a second.
I second that.
We have a second from Leticia. Any more discussion? Blue.
So just since this is a public meeting and I am one of the people that watches these meetings, I watch the other subcommittee. So I just for I guess the sake of anybody watching, I will say that it's I did find in Leticia's rubric that it does say while they have a lot of certified peers for their recovery cafe, they also have one peer support mentor that it's specific to addiction and one certified recovery mentor. And those two people can go out into the community to meet people who are currently using drugs. So it looks like they can't go into that cafe, but there are a couple of folks who could meet that need. And then in a sense, that is a lower barrier service. So I'm totally okay with this, but I just felt like I needed to say it in a public meeting.
Thanks, Blue. Yeah, it is a public meeting, so that's always helpful. Sabrina.
Yeah, and then also I just wanted to add in my rubric too, I put in there, they do have a 24-hour message chat line to talk to people as well too, which I think is beneficial because if you're still using, you can reach out to somebody in real time.
Thanks, Sabrina. So any more discussion? All right, so we have a motion from Zeb to fund Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County for peer support. We have a second. I'm hearing no more discussion, so I'm going to turn it over to Sydney for a vote.
Okay, motion to fund Reclaiming Lives in Jackson County for peer support. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan, are you back? I'll come back to Morgan one more time. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. Zeb?
Yes.
Thanks, Zeb. And just check in. Morgan, can you hear us? All right, I'm going to mark Morgan unavailable, but that vote will still pass with 5 yeses.
Thank you. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Rogue Community Health. If you have a conflict of interest that you'd like to declare for Rogue Community Health, please do so now. Hearing none. Rogue Community Health is applying to provide SUD treatment, peer support, and harm reduction in Jackson County. There you have 2 recommendations. One is yes/partial and one is no. You can find these recommendations under the Rogue Retreat 1 and Rogue Retreat 2 workbook or tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Oh, I'm sorry. That is not correct. In the RCH1 and RCH2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. That's Rogue Community Health, RCH1 and RCH2 in your workbook. I apologize. There's a lot of rogue going on in Jackson County. All right, Leticia stepped away for 3 minutes. Leticia, I just want to let you know that you all are considering Rogue Community Health. Do you have a conflict of interest that you'd like to declare for Rogue Community Health? Okay. They are applying for SUD treatment, peer support, and harm reduction in Jackson County, and you can find those rubrics under the RCH1 and RCH2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Welcome back.
So I looked at both of the rubrics and it looks like they refer out for a lot of harm reduction services. The few things that they're doing sounds like they're integrated into their medical care, such as offering pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP, offering to prescribe naloxone to patients that are there for other medical issues, treating things like hepatitis C. So I wouldn't consider what they've listed really a harm reduction intervention, but it also sounded like there wasn't really a budget for that. So I would be comfortable funding for the other categories, since it also doesn't sound like it's taking away from the budget.
Thanks, Blue. Sabrina?
Yeah, I just wanted to call attention to so we're at RCH and I'm looking at rubric number 2. And this one says they would not agree with the funding of this applicant. And I don't know, I'm just going to read what it says. It says, no, the budget docket narrative is for residential treatment and their application is for SUV, peer, and harm reduction services. And so I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Sabrina.
So thank you, Sabrina, for pointing that out. I also saw in RCH 129C that there were a lot of concerns about staff that don't really sort of align with Measure 110 and concerns about funding those positions.
Thanks, Blue.
Go ahead,
Leticia,
Sabrina.
I was just wondering if Leticia had anything that she wanted to add.
I was open to partially funding this application. I completed rubric number 1. I think it was 1. Yeah, I completed rubric 1. So I was open to partially funding this application, and I did have concerns regarding the staffing. I can't pull it open, but yeah.
Thanks, Leticia.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. All done.
Hi, Morgan, real quick. We are looking at Rogue Community Health in Jackson County. Do you have a conflict of interest you'd like to declare for Rogue Community Health in Jackson County?
I do not.
Perfect. All right. Do you want me to read you the whole thing?
No.
Okay. I don't think anybody wants to hear that again.
Oh my God. What, can you hear me? Am I off mute? What's the tabs called? I'm sorry. What did you say? Rogue? Can you
Yeah, it's RCH1 and RCH2.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So my thoughts are, I mean, since they're not asking for any funding for the harm reduction, it'd come down to they're applying for SUD services and for peer services. And for SUD, I really like that they have a stance of not discharging people from residential treatment because they relapsed. Individuals, being symptomatic, haven't shown signs of their disease, aren't discharged for symptoms of that, which is great. And so it sounds like they have a good transition program too. So when individuals do leave residential, that there's a nice transition to outpatient. I like that. I'd be comfortable with funding them for SUD services and peer services, but just with the caveat of not funding positions that aren't in line with chapter 944. Is that what it? Something like that. Measure 110 stuff like the nurse and there's other positions. So I'm not sure how to word that, but I'm just kind of putting my thoughts out there.
Thanks, Zeb.
Yeah, I would agree with Zeb, and I could just like read off this 23 CEF reviewer one, the positions that should not be funded. If we want to make a motion, we could just read those as they are in the rubric.
Sabrina?
Yeah, I just had a question for Leticia, if she doesn't mind answering. So when it says in the RCH rubric number 2 that the budget doc and the narrative is for residential treatment and the application is for SUD, peer, and harm reduction, I don't understand why the other reviewer put that. So I was wondering if you have any feedback to help me out, and then I could be ready for my vote.
Thanks, Sabrina. Sabrina? Oh, sorry, I saw your hand.
I think we lost Leticia. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so she can't answer that question. All right, Zeb and then Sabrina.
What I will say is residential treatment is SUD treatment. So when it says in their current applications for SUD, peer and harm reduction services, while the budget narratives are for a residential treatment program, residential treatment is SUD treatment. And I'm sure their peers are locked into their program.
Thanks, Zeb. Sabrina?
Yeah, and so that's what my thought was about it too. I was just wondering why maybe the other lady might have put that, but it's not fair to have Leticia ask a question, answer a question that somebody else wrote a comment to. So I'm ready to vote when you guys are.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to do it? You want me to read it? Hang on, let me toggle.
Okay, and if this is going to be a long motion, just if you could talk, regular speed or a little slower, because we have to capture it. So
I will talk how I wish people would talk when I am doing simultaneous interpreting. How about that?
Sounds good.
That's good. I'm sorry.
Hi, Leticia.
A behemoth.
Oh, Leticia, real quick, Morgan, Leticia has her hand up.
You can finish, Morgan. I can wait until you're done.
Oh no, I'm about to read a motion. So
okay.
So you talk.
Okay, sorry about that. My screen was frozen. I could hear you, but I couldn't do anything about it. So so my understanding of the application, opening a residential treatment center. And so the positions that I was concerned about in my rubrics were positions that I believed could be funded otherwise. Now, the only thing though is that I don't know if without those positions, they're not able to open this residential treatment center. And I don't know if that would affect them being able to open it. So I see the notes that were in rubrics too, and I would like to point out that that's probably my only concern.
Thanks, Leticia.
Okay, so Leticia, I'm about to read like partial funding, but not funding the following positions out of rubric 129C, which is therapist, team lead, 6 therapist, DUI assessor, physician, RN, and an occupational therapist. Is that similar to the concerns from?
Those were my concerns, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read a motion that we partially fund them, but not for those positions. Is that? And either they find alternative funding stream or it's not really in alignment because we were never supposed to be paying for that type of salary. Okay. I make a motion to fund Rogue Community Health partially, but not to fund the following positions: therapist, team lead, 6 therapists, DUI assessor, physician, nurse, occupational therapist.
All right, so we have that motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, so Morgan made a motion. Leticia seconded it. Thank you, Sydney. The motion is to partially fund Rogue Community Health, excluding salaries not in alignment with ballot measure 110. Therapists, team lead, 6 therapists, DUI assessor, physician, nurse, occupational therapist. Any more discussion? Hearing none.
I just wanted to thank Leticia for really getting into this application and budget and being really specific to call these things out.
Yeah, Leticia, you're super thoughtful. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Sydney.
Sorry, I was unmuted, but nobody was responding to me. Okay, the motion to partially fund road community health, excluding salaries not in alignment with ballot measure 110, which are the therapist team lead, the 6 therapists, the DUII assessor, the physician, the nurse, and the occupational therapist. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb? Zeb, you're on mute. There you go.
No, sorry. Does where are we at on the vote count right now?
We have 5 yes votes.
Yeah. All right. Abstain.
All right, that vote passes with 5 yes votes. Jessica?
Thank you. Thank you. The next organization that you all will be considering this afternoon is Rogue Retreat. If you have a conflict of interest you'd like to declare for Rogue Retreat, please do so now. Hearing none. Rogue Retreat is applying to provide peer support and housing in Jackson County. There are 2 recommendations. One is partial and one is yes. You can find those under the Rogue Retreat 1 and Rogue Retreat 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Passing it back to the subcommittee for discussion or a vote.
Jessica, I just have a question. I have reviewed the Rogue Retreat Hope University application and I had the budget swapped with this budget. And so I just wanted to know if you could send me the budget for this one so that I can,
Yeah. We can get that to you. Sydney will send that to you right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, Sydney? Are you good?
Jessica, did you see my message?
I did not. All right, Leticia, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna send you that budget. I'm gonna ask though, if everyone would feel more comfortable since the budgets kind of got switched. If we don't just send the application and budget out to everyone and table this to ensure that, yeah, I figured that that would be okay. Okay. So that's what we're going to do, just to ensure that everyone knows you're getting a rogue retreat budget and application and a rogue retreat Hope University application and budget. Okay. We're going to send that out. And Leticia, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we table Rogue Retreat.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. We have a motion from Leticia to table Rogue Retreat. We have a second from Zeb. And we're sending those separately so that you don't get confused because Sydney's a rock star. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Sydney.
Sorry, I'm just closing out my email. I'm gonna send those after the meeting, just in case there's more that need to come to. So motion to table this Rogue Retreat review. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina? Sabrina, you there? All right, Zeb?
Yes.
Thanks, Zeb. Sabrina, can you hear us? All right, I'm going to mark Sabrina not available, but that still passes with 5 yes votes to table.
Thank you. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you. Subcommittee, the next organization that you will be considering this afternoon is Southern Oregon Goodwill. If you have a conflict of interest you'd like to declare for Southern Oregon Goodwill, please declare it now. Hearing none. Southern Oregon Goodwill is applying to provide supported employment in Jackson County. There are 2 recommendations. One is yes partial and the other is no. You can find these recommendations in your SOOR Goodwill 1 and SOOR Goodwill 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Passing back to the subcommittee. Zeb.
Hi, I have a question for Leticia. Was there ever a clear budget narrative submitted to support the funding request?
I will look right now.
Thanks, Zeb.
Okay, I pulled up their budget and in seeing their budget, it looks like the total requested amount was 526,783. And the specifics that they were requesting would begin starting in March of 2022. And personnel costs were for GridWorks coach, supported work, 6,000 a month, job connection, concierge, 4,833 a month, quality assurance and reporting specialist, 6,000 a month, other personnel costs, 5,333 a month, and then intern wages, 6,200 a month. That was their personnel costs. They had continuing education program staff training costs of a one-time cost of $11,000. And then they had services and supplies costs, learning management system, $20 a month, and then additional support services, $800 a month. The technology, there was a one-time $8,000 cost, and licensing fees, $946 a month. And I can pull up their budget narrative if that would help. Yeah. And said that looks like that's correct. Their budget narrative is not clear.
I will say this, like the model for their supported employment program is really good. I guess the only question I would have is this money's for communities most impacted by the war on drugs as it relates to substance use, stuff like that. So the funding for them, that's not all the clientele that they see. So just like, I guess that's going to be worked out in the contract part. But I would be open to funding them for supported employment.
Thanks, Zeb. Blue.
So I definitely have some concerns, and it could just be that I'm not understanding the rubric, what is in the rubrics correctly, but it sounds like there are high costs for their permanent employees, for lack of a better descriptor, but for the interns, it's a very small amount of money, and it was a limited time duration, and I can't remember the number of weeks, but I did see that in one of the rubrics, and I can try to find that if that would be helpful for others. But I'm concerned of, it's not clear to me what happens after that internship time is up, and I'm also just unclear as to is this like working at a Goodwill thrift store? Is this doing other things? Or does it just have a similar name? I still wasn't clear, like, are they training people to do certain things, or I guess I just wasn't clear on, it sounds like a short-term employment program more than, so, I don't know. So go ahead, Zeb. These are just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Blue. And I'll just say this, like, I got a unique experience going through this program, not the specific one. So like when individuals apply for work at a Goodwill store, if they don't hire them on specifically, they refer them to this job connection program, which helps them with resume building, interviewing skills, to get a job coach, but to help individuals get job outside of just an application. Also, individuals can just go in there off the street to get help for getting employment. So a lot of individuals don't have job skills at all. So they have offer these internships that give them some skills and give something that they can put on a resume that helps them get more jobs. So like oftentimes these positions are used as stepping stones, and sometimes it's a stepping stone to becoming a permanent employee or to get a job out to an outside agency. So I'll say that from my experience with this model of supported employment, that it is a very effective model, and that so I just wanted to kind of say that, and it's very helpful to a lot of people I've seen. And it's a little, I think it's a little known fact that like Goodwill's like mission statement is like to help people come over barriers to employment, which I know a lot of people didn't know. And the reason I know that because I had to memorize that line.
Okay, Zeb,
Yeah.
it's not in the rubric or the application, so we can't. Thank you. But it sounds like you all might be close to a motion. Maybe. Is that Leticia? Morgan?
So is there specific concerns that we want to not fund in the rubric? The sort of salary imbalance, or do we just want to partially fund them? And then I would like to make a motion to.
Sorry, I saw Leticia's hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Okay.
talking.
No, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead, Morgan.
I was just, I'm going to say fully fund, or do you want me to say partially fund? Okay, I would like to make a motion to fund Southern Oregon Goodwill Industries in Jackson County.
Thanks, Morgan. So we have a motion on the table to fund Southern Oregon Goodwill in Jackson County. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second from Zeb. Thank you, Zeb. All right. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Sydney.
Okay, motion to fund Southern Oregon Goodwill Industries in Jackson County. Blue, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Thank you. Leticia?
Abstain.
Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Oh, and thanks, Leticia. Sorry. Sorry about that. Nicole?
Abstain.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina?
Sabrina's not here.
Oh, Sabrina left. Okay, hold on, let's see. And I'm gonna mark her as not available. And Zeb, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Zeb. So that doesn't pass. There's 2 yeses.
Okay, so the motion does not pass to fund.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Yes, okay, hold on. I don't know who put their hand up first, whether it was Leticia or Blue.
Go ahead,
Blue.
Leticia.
Oh. Okay, I would feel more comfortable if we were able to send out the application and the budget and the narrative to everyone, and so that there was an opportunity for everyone to review them. That's what I would feel comfortable with.
Okay, thank you, Leticia. Blue.
I'm okay with that as well because this has sort of been on my mind. I watched subcommittee number 1 meetings, and I noticed that essentially a minority can choose to not fund an organization, right? We need a majority to approve funding, yet somehow a smaller amount of the group could essentially be responsible for not funding. I think 2 or 3 people voted no and they were the minority, and then an organization was not funded. And so that concerns me as well, because I feel like it should still be a majority to feel better to me anyway.
Yeah, so the way that works is if somebody makes a motion to fund and it doesn't pass, right? Even if it's 1 or 2 people that vote no because it's a small subcommittee, right? Then the motion doesn't pass.
No, I understand that. I just didn't,
Yeah.
I don't understand the part where why that couldn't go to another vote with another subcommittee, or why that couldn't be, somebody couldn't essentially come to a decision that was still a majority approving. That's all.
Well, I hear your point, Blue. This is the direction that I've gotten on public meeting law. So it sounds like Leticia is hoping to have the application. So the thing that I learned yesterday was that actually you all can overvote your prior vote at any point that you choose to, right? That is within your power. So if somebody would like to make a motion to table this application and consider it at your next meeting, that is absolutely allowable. I have like direct instruction that that is okay. And if not, the vote can stand.
I would at least want to try to make a motion to table, oh gosh, was it Southern Oregon Goodwill for Jackson County?
I would
I
second that.
second that.
All right, so I have a motion from Blue to table Southern Oregon Goodwill from Jackson County. I think we have the second from Morgan first. I need more discussion. All right, Sydney.
All right, motion to table Southern Oregon Goodwill in Jackson County. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina still not here. Zeb.
Yes.
Thank you, Zeb. That passes with 5 votes, and I will add it to my list to send out after the meeting.
Thank you, Sydney. All right, so it is 3:07. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break if that's okay. 5 or 10, up to you. I know what Zeb's vote always is on this one. 5? Okay. Sorry, Zeb, you're overruled. It's 5. Minority rule here.
Hey, Sabrina, we're just about to come back from a break. Everyone will be back in about 30 seconds or so.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom real fast.
Okay, go for it.
I'm back way early on this one.
Not way early. I think you're on time, Zeb. All right. Who do we have back? We have Zeb back. We have Leticia. We have Morgan. Sabrina's going to be right back. Do we have Blue?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. All right. Let's give Sabrina just a moment to come back. All right, we have Sabrina back, which means we have everyone. Welcome back from your break. We are still in Jackson County. This is the last organization we have today for Jackson County. It is Youth Era. If you have a conflict of interest that you'd like to declare for Youth Era, please do so now. Hearing none. Youth Era is applying to provide peer support in Jackson County. There are 2 recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those on the Youth Era 1 and Youth Era 2 tabs in your Jackson County workbook. Handing it back to the subcommittee for discussion or a vote.
After reviewing both rubrics for this county, for this organization, I'm comfortable moving forward with the vote when you guys are.
I am.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to fund Youth Era treatment or Youth Era for Jackson County for peer services.
Thank you, Zeb. We have a motion from Zeb to fund Youth Era in Jackson County for peer support services. Do we have a second?
I second that.
We have a second from Morgan. Any discussion? Hearing none. Sydney?
I'm sorry again. I just want to read the motion and make sure I got it right. Motion to fund Youth Era in Jackson County for peer services. Is that accurate? Perfect. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Oh, I skipped Leticia. Sorry, Leticia. How do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks so much. Nicole? Oh, Nicole fell off. Okay, let me mark hers in A real quick. And then Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
All right, that passes with 5 yes votes. Jessica?
Thanks, Sydney. Well, we have completed all we can today for Jackson County. So good job, everyone. The next county that is on the agenda is Douglas County. So I'm going to give you all a second to pull up your Douglas County workbooks. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and ask, would anyone like to declare a conflict of interest with the entirety of Douglas County? Hearing none. The first organization that you all will be considering in Douglas County is ADAPT. If anyone has a conflict of interest with ADAPT in Douglas County and they'd like to declare it, please do so now. Hearing none. ADAPT is applying to provide SUD treatment, peer support, housing, harm reduction, and supported employment in Douglas County. There are 2 recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those on the ADAPT 1 and ADAPT 2 tabs in your Douglas County workbook. Sending it back to the subcommittee for discussion or a vote.
I'll call on you, Sabrina.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just want to, we're looking at, hold on. Sorry, I have so many tabs open, so I'll let you go, Blue, and I'll go right after you. I just got to get the right tab back up.
Okay, that sounds good. So I looked through both of the rubrics where we Douglas County. And for both of them in the harm reduction intervention section, it really stated that they sort of referred to HIV Alliance and other organizations. And, you know, it did describe a really strong partnership that HIV Alliance referred to them when somebody was ready for treatment. And I think that's great. I just don't really feel like what they're doing is necessarily a harm reduction intervention. And that was sort of my only concern. And I can, if people are interested in the specific spots on the rubric, I can pull those up, but I will let Sabrina go.
No, Blue, that was my concern also. And then my other concern was for the supported employment section. It kind of looked like it was kind of like a referral source too. They'll help with some context with supported employment, but it looked like they're like not exactly an employer and or helping people. Kind of like a work source organ. I don't want to say that. I'll get the right wording and I'll be right back.
Sabrina, go ahead.
Oh no, I still had my hand raised, but I was going to just add to the supported employment. It looks like they refer to like the work source organ in the Veterans Affairs.
Zeb?
Yeah, it's like to echo what Blue and Sabrina are saying. I mean, just with those two areas, the harm reduction and supported employment, it seems like they do a large part of that as a referral. So I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Zeb. Leticia?
I just wanted to speak about in rubric 1, it talks about in the housing section on 46D, it talks about how the agency offers same-day services to new clients through open access program. And so well within the 48-hour window through our crisis outreach team, we also have the ability to assess and engage with clients in the emergency room and other community settings. I thought that was a strong point. And I believe in rubric 2, it does talk about, where is it? It might be in the budget. Yeah, there was a concern on 30C, just stating could provide more in-depth budget breakdown, especially for funded positions, and then could request more for hotel housing. That's all I had.
Thanks, Leticia. Blue, I'm just noticing your posters behind you, and they're I like them. That's all. Sorry.
I have every wall has posters. So
I guess I knew that you had posters behind you, but I never saw exactly what they were because of how far you usually are away. So nice. Sorry, that's beside the point.
thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to sorry here, I'm trying to get my exact wording here. Fund adapt integrated healthcare for Douglas County, for SUD, for peers, housing, and supported employment. Their strong relationship with HIV Alliance noted in here. Like, I just think just everything minus the harm reduction intervention is what my recommendation is.
Thanks. That was a recommendation for folks to consider, or was that a motion? I'm sorry, I missed that first part.
That was a motion.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that for me. So it sounds like Zeb made a motion to fund ADAPT in Douglas County for all applied services except for supported employment. I'm sorry, except for harm reduction. Wow. Okay, let's try that again. Rewind. Okay. Zeb made a motion to fund ADAPT. Motion to fund ADAPT for in Douglas County for SUD treatment, peer support housing, and supported employment, not harm reduction. Correct, Zeb? All right, thank you. Do we have a second?
Oops, didn't realize I wasn't muted. Sorry. I just stretched inside. I wasn't sighing at y'all.
See, now Cindy's sighing at you.
I'm not.
That's where we're at now. So we have a second for Morgan. So let me just restate this. Motion to fund ADAPT in Douglas County for SUD treatment, peer support, housing, and supported employment, not harm reduction. We have a second from Morgan, and we have some discussion from Sabrina.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we agreed on that supported employment was also a referred out source, a service element, or I don't know if we agreed upon that. So I just wanted to know that before I vote.
Thanks, Sabrina. Maybe we take some time to consider the supported employment piece, talk about it. Deb.
Hi, I'd just like to say, like in rubric number 2, it talks about their goals related to the supported employment. They work to develop plans that include researching available job postings and requirements, obtaining applications, setting up interviews and how to do follow-up. They also worked with them on the edict as a job applicant from communication, behavior, and dress for these steps. And then it mentions that they also refer to Voc Rehab and Umpqua Community College workforce program to identify other needs.
Thanks, Deb. That water I drank went down the wrong. Lou, you're next.
So I am seeing mention of a sobering center or sobering shelter. Let me, goodness, I had just tried to control F through that and let me see if I can just find it again. Yeah, no,
take your time, Lou.
But it just, I only see the sobering center or shelter mentioned in the harm reduction section. And I don't really see a lot of other information on exactly kind of how that's working and how it is staffed or how much it costs. So yeah, that's my thought on that. And if I can find the exact language, I will raise my hand again.
Thanks, Blue.
That sober center shelter is what I had seen in there.
Thanks, Blue.
Yeah, I see that the sobering shelter and the harm reduction on one of the rubrics. I'm not finding it in the other one. Not sure if anybody else is having luck with that. And if so, Blue, would we want to restate the motion to include harm reduction if that does indeed include the sober center, the sober, however they identified it.
Well, I think we've looked at some other applications where there was a really large cost associated with some of those. I guess due to needing medical staff. And I don't know if they're also asking for like a space or a property or anything like that. And it looked like gosh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing, but I thought maybe their ask was fairly large, but I may have nope. Yeah. So they're asking for quite a bit of money. And I'm just not really sure where that's all going, I guess. And I don't feel like it's necessarily harm reduction, because I think people can't use there, and the goal is to keep them from using or to let them stay there while drugs or alcohol wears off. But yeah, I think in other applications, there have been a lot of cost related to medical staff and things like that. So I'm open to hearing other people's thoughts on this as well.
Thanks, Blue.
Yeah, I'm confused because like that other one defined it like pretty much like a shelter where it's okay if you're like not literally using drugs like, you know, in public there, but I don't know what that means.
Go ahead.
No, thank you. I was going to ask Sabrina how she felt about those services for the supported employment. Do you feel like that's enough?
Yeah, I mean, it's great in theory, but also it's not a direct service. And so, I mean, it's hard for me. I'm on the fence about it because I know those are great, but also it's not really providing anybody a job or training themselves. So to me, it doesn't feel like a direct service element. They're not directly providing the service. They're helping and then referring them out to other organizations. So I'm literally really on the fence about it.
I kind of feel like I might be able to make a better decision if I saw the application and the budget. I'm wondering okay, so I'm going to try to make a motion, see how that goes. A motion to.
Hold on, real quick, just for Zeb.
Oh, we had one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Zeb can retract his motion.
I would like to retract my previous motion.
Thank you, Zeb. Zeb has retracted his previous motion, so I think that leaves room for anybody else who would like to make a motion.
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
I'd like to make a motion to table adapt for Douglas County.
All right, so we have a motion from Blue to table adapt in Douglas County. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion on the table from Blue to table, I said table too much, sorry. to table the ADAPT application for Douglas County and receive that. We have a second from Leticia. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna send it over to Sydney for a vote.
Okay, the motion to table, adapt in Douglas County. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thanks, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you, Zeb. That passes with 6 yes votes. Jessica, it's all yours.
Thanks so much, Sydney. You are giving Walter a run for his money. All right. The next organization that you all will consider in Douglas County is Boulder Care. If you have a conflict of interest that you need to declare for Boulder Care Inc., please do so now.
I have a conflict of interest with Boulder Care. I'll go ahead and mute myself and turn off my camera.
Thank you, Leticia. Leticia is recusing herself for Boulder Care. That gives us, I just do a quick count. We have Zeb, we have Morgan, we have Sabrina, we have Blue. Okay, and we have Nicole. Okay, cool. So we can continue. Boulder Care is applying to provide SUD treatment, peer support, and harm reduction in Douglas County. There are 2 recommendations. One is a yes, one is a no/partial. You can find those recommendations under the Boulder Care 1 and Boulder Care 2 tabs in your Douglas County workbook. Subcommittee?
Sorry.
Nicole?
Hi. Sorry, it's loud in the background. I'm just curious. I feel like, okay, so Boulder Care again is, I'm looking at their stuff. It is digital telehealth. So I feel like this application for this county is probably similar to the other counties. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know what they're asking for as far as funds.
It is a good chance that it is similar. Yes.
Okay.
I have that pulled up. For Boulder Care, they are asking for, this is Douglas County, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So for Douglas County, they're estimating to serve 105.9 patients, and they are asking for $210,251.20.
I would look at maybe partially funding. It's strange. Douglas County is not that small of a county for the as few of applications as we got here. This is not, it's very large. I mean, there's like huge rural areas, but Roseburg is its seat. 110,000 people live here. So it's slightly concerning to me how few people applied. So I would maybe do a partial funding with the copy and paste amendments of previous tech accessibility and stuff, just because the land mass of the county is so enormously huge. This could be reasonable.
I agree.
I would just like to see a much smaller amount, I think, awarded because from what I understand about Boulder Care, they're also already operating and available to people throughout the state. So I'm not sure where those large costs are coming, especially knowing that there's no brick and mortar building or costs such as that. I think some of what they want to do is cover the cost of treatment or peer support for people who they can't otherwise get reimbursed for, which is great, but that sounds like a pretty large amount.
Do you want to put a number on it, like 50% reduction, or?
I don't know. I mean, I would say at least, because it just seemed like the other counties, most of the asks were, I think, less than 10,000 and felt more realistic. And this just seems huge.
Okay. So what if we just say, like, look at a severe budget reduction here and partially fund further services and look at a substantial budget reduction? Is that, yeah. Okay. I would like to make a motion to partially fund Boulder Care in Douglas County. I'm looking at a substantial reduction in budgets, considering that they are already operating statewide.
All right.
It's modifications for what was it? For tech accessibility, providing that they can provide tech accessibility to their peoples.
Okay. So we have, let me see if I can recreate that. We have a motion on the table from Morgan to fund Boulder Care in Douglas County with a substantial reduction in budget and providing access to tech accessibility. Okay. All right. And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Sorry.
I don't know who said it first.
Nicole.
Okay, Nicole said it. Okay, so I have a motion for Morgan, a second from Nicole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Sydney.
Sorry. Okay. In the motion to fund Boulder Care with the significant reduction and the accessibility requirements. Previously, we've talked about Blue. How do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you so much. That motion passes with 5 yes votes. And I'll tell Leticia she can come back.
All right. Thank you all. Let's give Leticia a moment to come back. Leticia. All right, so your last application in Douglas County and on your agenda for today is the HIV Alliance. If you have a conflict of interest you'd like to declare for the HIV Alliance, please do so now. Hearing none, the HIV Alliance is applying to provide peer support, housing, and harm reduction in Douglas County. There are two recommendations. They are both yes. You can find those in your HIV Alliance 1 and HIV Alliance 2 tabs in your Douglas County workbook. Blue.
So I am, I'm not sure if in our last motion for Boulder Care, we mentioned not funding harm reduction, because that is a consistent concern that since they are not in person, I think it's complicated, and I just realized that I don't know that part was verbalized. So I have a late concern.
Okay, better late than never. So what we can do here again is you can always vote over your last vote if that is what you want to do, but somebody would need to make that motion.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to fund Boulder Care in Douglas County only for SUD and peers, looking at a substantial budget reduction and tech accessibility.
Thank you, Morgan. Do we have a second?
I will second that. Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's good. Good. Okay, so any more discussion? All right, Sydney, when you are ready.
Just to clarify, it's the same motion, just without funding harm reduction, correct? Okay, just want to make sure. So the motion, let's see. Motion to partially fund Boulder Care with substantial budget reduction modification for tech access to clients and excluding harm reduction request. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thanks, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Zeb. And that passes with 5 yes votes. Jessica?
Yeah, so luckily Leticia stepped out as soon as she heard the word Boulder Care, but we just have to remember sometimes people have conflicts. So can somebody call Leticia back into the room again? You're quick, Leticia. Nice. Okay. So I think we already talked about the HIV Alliance and asked for conflicts of interest, but just in case if anybody has one, please declare it. Hearing none. Again, they're applying to provide peer support, housing, and harm reduction in Douglas County. Both recommendations are yes, and you can find them in the last two tabs labeled HIV Alliance 1 and HIV Alliance 2 in your Douglas County workbooks.
I'll just chime in that I I do appreciate that they have peers with lived experience, and it does look like, I think it's in rubric one. They do mention that they have a peer that has their proposed peer has extensive experience providing culturally specific services for rural Oregon communities, and I just think that's really important and needed. So I'm definitely in favor of approving this application.
Me
Is
too.
that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to fund HIV Alliance for Douglas County.
Thank you, Blue. We have a motion from Blue to fund HIV Alliance in Douglas County. Do we have a second?
I second that. Sorry.
We have a
Easy for
second.
me at the same time.
We have a second for Morgan. Any discussion? Hearing none. Sydney?
All right, last vote of the day. And then I have to relinquish control back to Walter.
Ooh.
All right, motion to fund HIV Alliance in Douglas County. Blue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thanks, Blue. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you, Leticia. Morgan?
Yes.
Thanks, Morgan. Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And last but certainly not least, Zeb.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That passes with 6 yes votes. You guys did so good today.
Yeah, you did. Fantastic.
Can I ask what
Yeah, go ahead.
remaining schedule of counties looks like? Do we have that?
Yep, that is going well. So we have a proposal that we would like to give some of the remaining counties to subcommittee number 1 because there are several left. There are, I think, about 37 applications left to review, not counting what got parking lotted today for you all. And so I was going to call y'all and see how you felt about it, but it was requested that I bring it to the entire subcommittee. And so how do y'all feel about that?
Can you list out the counties for me?
Sure.
I can pull up my list here. We've got, sorry, is that okay, Jessica, since I've got it?
Yeah,
handy?
no,
Okay.
please, always. Oh, hold on real quick. Sabrina has a hand.
Sabrina?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what was the question, how we felt all about what, Jessica? I didn't catch that part.
Okay, just real quick, let's just close out this YouTube meeting. Thank you all. You did great this today. You're rocking it. It's a long day. It's Friday. It's been a long week. Thank you for your time, your volunteer members, and